Welcome to Ashley Franz and Kristen Gonter. We're going to have a fun conversation today, and we're going to talk about some exciting things that we're doing this summer at NAMI Buffalo and Western New York. Now, I think first thing I wanted to talk about is why do we do what we do? And we have a new mission that we're going to roll out very, very soon publicly with our new strategic plan that is just being finalized. And our new mission is that we foster hope through compassionate support, advocacy, education, and awareness so that all impacted by mental illness are empowered by their most fulfilling lives. I think that really captures what we do. And our new vision is that NAMI, Buffalo, and Western New York envisions a world where all people affected by mental illness live their authentic lives, fully formed, supported, and empowered by communities and families that care. So, Ash, you're a little bit new to the team. Do those resonate well with you?
Yeah, they really do. I think that the direction and clarity that those two provide not only like represent what it is I think we currently do, but where we're headed and the um, support and connections that we are looking to establish throughout the region. And that's why I think events like the NAMI walk that we are going to be talking about and any other events that we do to kind of not only raise awareness, but engage the community in ways that are fun and really support that like hope piece. Um, Brings to light kind of the energy of our volunteers, how dedicated to the mission they all are, and then whatever differing connection all of our volunteers and the people that work with us have to this mission. I think that everyone has um, obviously a deeply personal but differing reasons to do this type of work, whether that's as a volunteer or as a staff employee. But I do think that, um, yeah, my favorite thing about those updates is how um, they hold the individual with mental illness kind of like at the center and their well-being, and allow for the many different types of support and care that are required for someone with a mental illness to really live authentically, which is different than living uh, maybe like a prescribed version of recovery. I think that the authentic piece really lends itself to making sure that everyone gets to define for themselves what wellness means and what health means and mental health. Uh, but yeah, I'm really proud of the mission and vision that are going to be coming out and think that it really not only resonates with me, but helps me in recruiting and training new volunteers in that direction of like those compassion and empathy and bringing humanity back to mental health care as opposed to um, medicalizing it exclusively.
Very well said. I'm super excited, and I think you two, knowing both of you pretty well, our new values are also hope, inclusivity, and compassion. And I really think that that speaks to the root of what we're trying to convey in everything that we do is, we want people to feel hope. We want to make sure that they're cared for and in the way that they need to be cared for, and that it's mental health for all and everybody's included. So, and this is May 2025. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're very excited to be doing a lot of outreach. Ashley is doing an amazing job in getting some word out on social media. There's a lot going on this year. And in the coming weeks, we will be making a formal announcement with a press conference, but we want to talk about it right now because we're rolling it out already. Is that for the first time ever, NAMI Buffalo and Western New York will be holding our very first NAMIWalks event. NAMIWalks is based on the NAMI's national model, and walks are done throughout the country and throughout the year. The NAMI walks for Buffalo and Western New York will be held on Saturday, August 16th at 6 p.m. at Front Park in the city of Buffalo, right down on the water. It's going to be an evening walk. The Peace Bridge will be lit up. We'll see the amazing sunset over the Niagara River. It's just going to be a true celebration of community and support and friendship and collaboration and a way to um, really recognize the amazing experiences and the work that anyone attached to NAMI puts forth. A very exciting addition to this walk is that as people complete the walk around Front Park, they'll be walking into our second annual Dance with Somebody Whitney Houston themed dance party that will be held by, or that is going to be presented by Kristen Gonter and Joyful Events Western New York. We did it last year and it was great. So Kristen will talk a little bit more about that. But let's talk about the walk first. Ashley, what can you tell? What have you been to walks before throughout the country? I know you worked with NAMI National for a while. What do you expect, or what are you hoping to see at this walk?
Sure. This is my first NAMI walk. However, I'm very excited. I have done walk events before in my organizing slash fundraising slash nonprofit background, whether that was for my uh, Panhellenic philanthropy events back in undergrad and in DC, or growing up. My family was really involved in Relay for Life. And so I think my favorite thing about walk events is the um, how people unite around a cause for this shared experience together. I really like walks because not only are you meeting new people, but you're also, um, there's always events. I can go into kind of some things that we have planned that tap into kind of those hope and community and friendship and shared loved ones experiences that we're going to be offering everyone as well. Um, but I think my favorite thing is just holding space together with people who may not think the same things as you, but are united around mental health for all and this idea that everyone deserves health and happiness and treatment and dignity in their recoveries. Um, I don't want to go too much into Kristen's story. I know that we're going to be talking about it, but just for context for anyone watching, Kristen, Jeff, and I um, kind of have heard each other's stories before. And something I find so inspiring about Kristen's story is the kind of winding path of health and wellness and mind and physical and community that it took to get to kind of the place where she is now, where she's giving back and planning events and rallying around this cause. I think that walks are just such tangible ways to do that and to show up for something. Um, I know that during COVID, my generation, me and my friends, got really into mental health walks because it was the last thing that we could do in the city where I was living. Um, and I just know that I'm excited to walk around the park and to see the sunset over the river and find what birds show up and just take moment of the little things that always remind me that life is worth living when things are hard, like showing up in community. That's the biggest thing for me.
And
It's
Ashley, I
so
think what's also exciting is that when you think of just walks in general, right? So whether it be walks for other causes, medical research, cancer, things like that, what's not true in those spaces and is absolutely true in the mental health space is cancer, Alzheimer's, those big ticket items that you see lots of walks and support for don't come with stigma, right? So, and as we all know all too well, there is still a lot of stigma, negative stigma attached to mental health, right? And going to these types of walks that are mental health centric and celebrating the journeys people are taking, acknowledging the challenges they have, but lifting one another up. It's a group of people that you feel unencumbered when you're with them, right? There's no stigma. These are like-minded people with lived experiences and shared experiences without judgment, so there's just really an opportunity in the mental health space where I don't think there's enough community activity, walks or otherwise, to push the stigma aside, push the negative talk and connotations away, and just talk honestly and celebrate people's journeys, no matter where they are in those journeys. If they're at the walk, if their families are at the walk, it means that they're engaged and actively participating in a way that is going to make their lives and the lives of other people better, which is really cool.
That
I mean,
is absolutely stunningly stated, Kristen. Sorry, Jeff, I don't mean to cut you off again. Um, yeah, so I won't. So go on.
no, I was just thinking, and we've seen this a lot through our NAMI Stories series, and the team over at Shovel the Sidewalk really talks about this a lot. Um, it, Sometimes we deal with some pretty heavy subjects, and people are feeling, they're feeling some struggles and some pain and some sadness and depression and whatever it is, and they've been so brave in sharing that. I think what we want to do is really make this be a celebration of that courage and that community. And it's going to be a really really fun day. We're going to have lots of music before, during, especially after the walk. We're going to have food trucks and lots of activities for kids. There's going to be community partners there with tables for information for anybody who's looking for different kinds of support or community resources. And it's Front Park, which is a historic Olmsted park. It's right down on the water where the Niagara River and Lake Erie meet. Peace Bridge is there. It's easily accessible from the 190 south and north. It's accessible from anywhere in the city. So it's really just going to be a great experience for everyone, I think. Um, but because there are so many walks, what do either one of you think is going to set our walk apart from others?
Can I get in trouble here and say that I'm not sure if that's what we're going for? I think that we really want to shine a spotlight on what does set our walk apart from others, which is this wonderful dance party that we know people want to participate in. I think it's a really exciting opportunity to be literally led in there by the walk path. And I also, um, while the setup and kind of flow of the event is going to be very similar to walks that work, I think that what uh, what we're doing is we're really bringing a lot of intention to the activities that we're going to have and the um, collective energies that we're bringing to this event, which is kind of that like understanding and making this not like um, like the safest space emotionally and physically that it can be. And just all of these things that we're going into the planning pieces of it, I think will be apparent when the event takes place.
I think we'll keep
Yeah,
that
and
though.
I think also, right, I think, the distinction is, right, the people participating in a walk like this for NAMI related to mental health, um,
Yeah.
it's about
Well,
the no, it's okay, Ash. It's it's about the people, right? So it's about your life or your
yeah,
day-to-day experiences. And that's not to say
yeah,
cancer isn't, for example, or things like that, because I've certainly had those journeys, which you'll hear about later. But um it is meant, is it it's intentionally meant to feed the souls of the people that are there, right? So it's to lift people up and support people in whatever emotional or mental state they're in at that time, or how
yeah,
they're supporting people who are struggling. So it's meant to be joyful. It's meant to be impactful to your mental health, right? And I think about using, again, I know I keep going back to it again, a lived experience, but using cancer walks as an example, absolutely powerful, absolutely impactful, but not immediately contributing to the betterment of the situation you're walking for, right? I'm
I
not going to be cured of cancer by walking for cancer. Somebody else might, and that's amazing, right? We're raising, if you raise money to, medical research or different things like that. But at NAMI, right, in that walk, in those moments, at that dance, around a food truck with those community, we are all actively participating in bettering real time the mental health of the people that are participating in the walk and the dance party, which I think is super cool.
It is. I also want to not lean away from the fact that we are hosting this walk and dance party as a fundraiser. I think it's going to be really important that we communicate with the people who come to the walk and with our our volunteers, but whoever watches this video and whoever engages with NAMI Buffalo and Western New York is that we do have support groups throughout the area. The money that is going to be raised by this event goes directly back into the community, into services for people with mental illnesses and their families. We have 6 family support groups across Western New York running right now monthly, and even an online offering for folks who aren't able to get to those in-person events or support groups. And I know that we have big plans to expand that offering and to have groups for other people who might need support with their mental health, other than families and loved ones. I know that there are a lot of peer offerings in the area. And there's still room for LGBTQIA support groups, different um, support
Veteran support
offerings.
group. Yep.
Yeah, veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
a lot of opportunity for us to do even more good work and impact hundreds of more families with the resources that we're able to gain from this event that, like Kristen said, is a mental health event that is meant to foster that community building that will then help people when these crises or anything do occur in the future. I think that that community building, then you're like, oh, I met this person here. I know that they are on board. And if I need a meal cooked this night, maybe I could reach out for help, kind of thing.
No, we are poised and ready to grow, to have new support groups and new classes and other programs in, the Orleans and Wyoming and Cattaraugus and Chautauqua counties, which we're moving into slowly. Um, like Ashley said, groups and classes for targeted groups of individuals, whether it's LGBTQIA individuals, veterans, first responders. The possibilities are endless, and because everything that we do is free and open to everybody, it does take resources to be able to put these on. So you're right, this is a great event. It's going to be a celebration, but it is also a way for us to be able to continue providing these resources and these services to individuals and families that are dealing with mental illness. So our national organization, they've been doing this for many years throughout the country, like I said, and they have a model. And Ash, can you talk a little bit about how somebody can become involved, what the process is, and some of the resources available to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little confused by your question, so I'm just kind of going to talk and we'll see if I answer it. I know that the national model has been tested and is tried and true because the 600 other affiliates of NAMI National, like us, have either done this or might plan to in the future. Um, However, the walk is not the only way to get involved with NAMI Buffalo and Western New York, and I think that might have been what Jeff is getting at. And so, what I would love to offer anyone who either wants to come to the walk or um, learn about the support offerings that we have or learn about what resources we have compiled. There's many ways to do that. The easiest of which would be going online. The second easiest of which would be call or email me. But I know that there are many different avenues that the people in need of care and people who want to give care can all come to us and either receive the care they need or provide the care they want to provide others. And that really all starts with becoming a volunteer or starting the process of thinking about volunteering your time in a capacity that works for you. So I think that we are really trying to make the barriers to getting involved as low as possible at our office. And I think that we are succeeding in doing that by recruiting um, folks from many different avenues and places and locations, whether that's online or offline. Um, and I think that that is what I would like to share about that, unless that didn't answer your question at
And
all.
and the volunteers are the lifeblood of our organization. We could
Mm,
not be doing any of the support groups. We couldn't do any of the classes. Much of the outreach and presentations, it's all done through volunteers who have their own lived experience, their own reasons for wanting to give back, and we could not do anything without them. Um,
and
And
I
I
Go ahead.
think
think,
that,
oh, sorry, Ash. I think one of the things, as someone who sort of found my way to you, so I'm one of those people, right, that Ashley, that you've described, right? And it was through the internet, right? So I went online and I found you. But one of the things I've learned after having found you is that the diversity within the organization, so folks who work for NAMI, coupled with the diverse group of people that you see as volunteers, I think will help inform all of the different ways in which NAMI can grow, right? So as we are trying to raise money for the organization, and I'll tell you personally, one of the things that stood out to me when I started my work last year for this event and how I connected with you, the concept of um, being a place for caregivers was something that really stood out to me as not the norm. When you go and look at other organizations, mental health organizations, the focus and it totally makes sense, right, is often on the people who are struggling with their mental health or need the tools and resources to further their journey and get to a place of healing from a mental health perspective. And your organization and the focus you have on ensuring that the people in the lives of those folks are also cared for, which I think is super unique and super awesome. And I think that again, the diversity in the group that you have working and volunteering starts to inform the other ways in which the money we raise can be used to outreach to other areas in the community, right? So you have all sorts of different sort of buckets or categories of people, like you mentioned, right? You've got the LGBTQIA community, you've got veterans, you've got so all of the volunteers you have are representative of the additional groups you want to find ways to serve and help, and I think that's really cool. So
thank you, Kristen. Something you said there was about the caregiver role, and I really find that inspiring about NAMI's work too, is that treating of, well, this goes into my role as maybe a social work student, which I know might get an eye roll, but I really do think that um, being mindful of how many different spheres influence someone's mental health, whether that's family, friends, work, school, etc., is a strength of kind of not just the programs we offer to family and loved ones, but also kind of the ethos of what we um, really take to heart in that kind of work. So I just wanted to thank you for sharing that as well, because I do think that mental illness of an individual does impact an entire family or an entire unit of people. And it's important to make sure that care is just readily available to whoever needs it. And I think that's something that we work towards. Um, I was going to interrupt because I was ready to finally say that the answer I think Jeff was pulling from me, which was everyone should join a team and form a team. And that's the NAMI national model is that it's a walk. We are all going to form teams. I'm going to bug all my friends, all my loved ones. I might even have people visit from out of state to come to this event and support me because I know that my support system is just that fantastic. And I have people who will do that. And so um, I encourage anyone who wants to bug their coworkers, to bug the people at the gas station in the morning, maybe even at your coffee shop before you drive to wherever you drive in the morning, to let them know that um, the ways in which the community is going to show up is by individuals bringing their communities with them. And I really think that's kind of inspiring about the team and the walk model and as well is how many um, different people you can unite around a cause by just tapping into the love that is already in everyone's life. And that support and that family and those connections and that friendship piece. Yeah.
And I think it's really important. And thanks for all of what you said was both of you. All of what you said was important, especially during this month where we're trying to raise awareness about mental health. But yes, as it pertains to the walk, form a team, get involved. You can visit our website, which is www.namiwalks.org/Buffalo WNY. And the national platform exists. You can download an app for your phone. You can form a team. You can solicit and collect donations. All proceeds go to NAMI Buffalo in Western New York. There'll be some competitions to see what team's raising the most money and getting the most support. We have lots of sponsorship opportunities that you can find out about if you go online. And you can also form a team and get free tickets to the Dance with Somebody dance party afterwards, which is really an exciting event. So with that in mind, Kristen, do you want to talk a little bit about what brought you to NAMI last year? Because last year we had the first Dance with Somebody event and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah. Um, I think just the universe connected us somehow. But um, so I'm someone who is, my mental health journey has been a lifelong one. I've struggled with some pretty severe anxiety most of my life and have had some physical challenges and physical health challenges that have also, sent me into some depressive episodes as well. Um, and a couple things kind of informed my decision to do this. One, I just am always I'm the kind of person who my mental health is better when I'm doing stuff for others, right? So that's something that is just a mood lifter for me. But the ways that I get through my challenges and my setbacks and my mental health journey and some of the tools that I have are maybe considered pretty basic, but music is one. Um, Dancing is another, right? So it's joy. It's finding the things that bring me joy. And I had a moment a couple of summers ago, a quiet moment of joy downtown on the river, on a lovely summer evening, and I just started playing my Whitney Houston music and I started dancing down on the boardwalk and I looked around and I was wondering, why doesn't everybody do this? It feels so good. Like it's just like I was just feeling amazing, right? And so then I decided sort of in that moment that I would make that happen. And so not long after that evening, I made a phone call and rented a space and started the process of doing a Whitney Houston themed dance party. So I to give you a little bit of background as it relates to my journey, I suppose. Like I said, struggling with anxiety my whole life as a kid, as someone who's in my well, I'll just call me the Goonies generation, and you could guess my age, but in any case, someone from that time, right? Mental health wasn't something that we talked about, there wasn't really, it wasn't, an, you know, open dialogue about feelings and or how to respond to those feelings, any of that. And so, you deal however you deal. But growing into adulthood, I ran into a whole host of really serious physical um, ailments, I suppose we can call them. I was diagnosed with advanced stage breast cancer at 33 years old, and was told that for a period of time was told that it was stage 4 and I wasn't going to be around much longer. And that was 13 years ago. But with that came, right, a whole host of treatments and waiting and trying to understand what my life looks like if I have one. And as you can imagine, that can really kickstart the anxiety up and get that sort of ramped up. And it absolutely did that. Um, I know when we spoke, Ashley and Jeff, about my journey a little bit, I was concerned about how to talk about it without feeling, I felt a little bit like some of the decisions I made through my cancer journey, which was pretty long, lots of surgeries, chemo, radiation, all sorts of treatments. Subsequent to that, there was a hysterectomy and that failed, and there was another massive surgery. And then just before our event last year, I'll get to the fun part, I promise, but just before last year, also then had all complications from cancer, but also then had a tumor that developed in my heart and had to have open heart surgery and was trapped in the hospital for 17 days for that. So obviously, with all of that comes lots of mental health challenges. And a couple of things I learned through that is one, how to advocate for myself, but in doing so, learned how to advocate for others, which is sort of what drew me down the path of wanting to do a fundraiser, right? Some sort of community event. Advocating for others gives me peace and comfort. And so that's sort of all the things that got me there. But the thing that connected me with NAMI as I was trying to figure out, well, oh my gosh, is this dance party even going to, be a thing? Is anybody going to love it as much as I do? Well, and Jeff made a very good point when I connected with him. He said, if you help one person, you've done your job. Everything after that is a bonus. And that really put me at ease because as someone who's not, um, part of an organization that does events like this, as someone who's never done an event of any sort or a fundraiser besides selling candy bars when I was a kid, I had no idea what to do. But when I found NAMI, I knew that I wanted to do it with you. And one of the reasons for that is because, again, the dedication you have to caregivers. And as someone who from both a mental health perspective and a physical health perspective, felt like I needed to modify my journey and my experience in my cancer story and in my mental health story in order to have as little a negative impact on the people around me, right? I I didn't experience cancer the way I needed to. I experienced cancer the way I thought the people in my life needed me to, right? I didn't to see the looks of sadness or concern or despair on the faces of the people that you care about, whether you're in the middle of a mental health crisis or a physical crisis, feels burdensome to the person who's causing that or feels like they're causing that, right? And so I loved that an organization like NAMI sort of lifts that burden off of the person who's in the midst of turmoil, be it mental health or physical health, and shifts that to people who can carry that for them and help your family and your coworkers and your friends carry that journey. So that's sort of how I got here, but the most important part of all of this is the dance party and what a ridiculously good time it is, and what a great way it is for all of us to do some really cool stuff and raise a lot of money for a super amazing organization. And so last year, like I said, as we all know, we connected Jeff and I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't actually know how to do this, but I'm doing it. And do you want to participate? And do you want the funds to come to NAMI? And Jeff was a resilient, heck yes. And what can we do? Tell us how to help. Um, and so I guess to share for folks who are listening what you can expect, it's really just my, I guess, outward expression of what joy looks like to me. And that's people of all ages and shapes and size and colors and lifestyles and all of that coming together through music, really great music, by the way, for again, someone my age, all the good stuff, right? You're getting Whitney and you're getting Michael Jackson and you're getting Salt and Peppa and Janet and all, Mariah Carey and I mean, just so much good stuff. Belle Biv DeVoe, LL Cool J, right? All just tons of really fun, good dance music. And we had so awesome music, all sorts of great lights and decorations, super cool balloon stuff. We had glow sticks for everybody. We had LED wands waving around. We've also got performers, so hula hoopers and jugglers, and they all light up their things at night, and that's pretty amazing. Food trucks, so food and drinks, and just I think this year we're going to try to get some ice cream. We're going to do some face painting for the kids. We're going to have all sorts of other opportunities like that. But I sort of turned what I do in my kitchen to get myself out of a funk into something I can invite other people to participate in and celebrate the lives we all live, no matter how challenging they may be sometimes, and take a moment to just be grateful for what we have and who we have around us and have a really, really good time. So I hope that that
No,
helps.
that's amazing. And some of the lasting images I have from last year is that the dance party started with this amazing summer Buffalo sunset that was absolutely glorious that time in August. And as the dance party picked up and more people showed up, it became darker and darker, and the glow sticks kicked in and the lights kicked in, and it was just an amazing party, and I think everybody who went had a great time. And it raised some money for NAMI, but it was really about the celebration. It was so amazing, and we're so grateful that we connected, and so grateful that you shared your story, Kristen. I mean, that's really why we're doing all of this, because we know that sharing our stories, helps others share stories. And the more people share stories, more people are able to find support, more people are able to help reduce the stigma. I mean, it's such an important part of what we're doing here. And I'm in awe, absolute awe of you every time we talk. I'm in awe of all the people that we encounter through NAMI, in awe of their strength and their resilience and their ability to turn that strength, to turn that pain that they're feeling into something positive and helpful to others. It is so inspiring to me. And you see that dealing with whatever challenges that you have, it could be mental health, physical health, or whatever, it encompasses all the emotions. And you feel the anxiety and you feel the depression, but you also find ways to feel that joy and that ways to give back. And that's such an important component of what this dance party is about, is expressing that joy and releasing it out into the world so that other people can, and it's contagious. So really excited about, and the fact that you use Whitney Houston, and about some of the struggles that she dealt with throughout her life, and she still made this incredible music that you just can't help be moved, whether it's by dancing or moving or crying, or just everything she ever did evoked an emotion, and all those emotions are important. So it's an incredible theme for the party, and we're so looking forward to it. Ashley, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, I was. Something that you said, Kristen, was about how this dance party is taking kind of like your kitchen coping skills and inviting the world into them. And I think that really resonates with me because of something else you said, which is about how you're from the Goonies generation, which I know what that means because I know 80s movies. Um, I I I also just want to kind of like take a second as the Gen Z person in the office, the Gen Z person on the team, the person who kind of gets poked at for being young, and take a like an honest reflection of the fact that like we didn't get here to this cultural moment overnight, and like the reason why I face less stigma than you do in my day-to-day right now is because people like you have been on this journey for much longer than I have been alive. Can't say that because that's not entirely true, but I hope you know what I mean, and that
Yeah.
like the bravery of you to tell your story when you were experiencing it as it was happening to you. Um, in the same way of like the way that I respect queer elders who were out before it was legal, I respect people who were talking about mental health before it was cool and acceptable. Um, and I think there's still a lot of caveats to how acceptable it is. I know that depression and anxiety, I kind of sometimes pick a bone with because of more, not more, but because of SMIs that are more stigmatized, like schizophrenia and bipolar 1. Um, so I know that there's so much room to go in the stigma conversation, but I know that I am so grateful for how openly I am able to talk about my struggles now in 2025. And that is only because of the bravery and conviction of people before me for as long as this conversation has been alive. And so I think inviting people into your personal coping skills is such a beautiful testament to them working for you and the yeah, I wanted to say some of that because when you're talking about stigma and when you're talking about um kind of like this community offering of joy. It just really goes back to that value of hope for us having access to it, even when the people that we're serving might not.
That's excellent. So again, this is going to be it's August 16th. It's in the evening. It's going to be a beautiful day because that's what Buffalo summers are. And people can find out about more about NAMIWalks at our website, which is NAMIBuffaloNY.org, or you can go to the NAMIWalks website, which is NAMIWalks.org/Buffalo WNY. Or you can search Buffalo in the NAMIWalks website. That would be fine too. You'll find information about the dance party there, how to get tickets, how to get involved in the walk,
How to join a team
so
or found a
how to
team.
join a team, how to sponsor the walk. If you, work somewhere or somebody who owns a business or organization or something and they're looking to partner and support, we have custom made NAMI Walk t-shirts where all the sponsors go on. There'll be a lot of signage at the events and a lot of social media and online opportunities to promote your business or organization as a sponsor of NAMI Walk. So anything you can do to support, we would be entirely grateful for. Anything else you want to add?
Did we mention, right? I don't know if I can't recall if we mentioned, but just in case we didn't, right? So if you form a team and you raise money, then when you end at the dance party, you'll just be your admission into the dance party is just part of your having a team and raising money for the walk.
Yeah,
If for some reason you can't make the walk, we'd still love to have you at the dance. And if you do that, you can just purchase a ticket like you did last year. It's actually a little bit cheaper than it was last year. So good stuff there, but you can buy a separate ticket if you aren't able to get to the walk in time or something like that. But lots of different ways to participate. As far as sponsors, obviously, we're any organization, company, or individual humans who are interested in sponsoring the events. We welcome any and all forms of sponsorship. So whether it be a monetary sponsorship, or just donations, or you hang your flyers at your business and you have people, putting teams together so that we can have a lot of great teams at the event. I think that's great. We'll also be doing 50/50 raffles and raffles for donate like product donations. So last year we had a bunch of different really great product donations that were offered to us by local businesses. Um, those are an option if there's something that you can, donations of in-kind donations where that we can auction or raffle off. Those are welcome, and can do a lot of good for the cause and raising money. So, um, opportunities to be creative in ways to support the events and the organization.
And I want to make this very clear. It is a NAMI Walks event, but the most exercise you'll get will be at the dance party. The walk is only a mile. It's right around Front Park. It's an easy walk, and it's more about the journey together. But the real exercise will be at the dance party, right, Kristen?
I mean, it certainly was for me last year. So yes, there were outfit changes.
Yeah.
We had some
Ooh,
Whitney
now I'm
Houston.
thinking.
We had Whitney Houston inspired costumes. I certainly did a few of those. So you can dress up silly. You can just wear your normal street clothes. You can have fun with team themes on your walk if you want to. Nothing is too wild, anything you want to do to show off who you are, how you're feeling, the energy you're bringing to the walk and the dance party. We all express these things in different ways, just like we do with music and dancing. We also do with clothes and sneakers and hair and all the things that make us us. So feel free to show up as loud as possible, whether
And
that
it's
be in your dress or using your voice.
Yeah, and it's an all ages event, so we encourage families to come, kids of all ages. It's an accessible path, so you can bring strollers, and it's really an event for everyone, and we encourage everyone to participate. And make sure you reach out to us for more information, and we look forward to talking more about this over the next couple of months as we lead up to the event.
And spread the word. If you're listening to us
Spread
talk right
the
now, spread the
word.
word. Pass it on. If there's nothing you can do but share, then share, share, share.
That is absolutely right. Kristen, thanks so
Thank
much for
you so
joining us
much.
today. You've been great. Ashley, as always, appreciate your time, and we look forward to sharing more about this in the future. But we'll talk soon.